Welcome back everyone to my Let's Play of Final Fantasy III for the Nintendo Famicom system. Last episode we had just finished up in Goldor's manor, and he destroyed the crystal because he didn't want anyone else to have it. So now I guess we're stuck at a dead end. What should we do? Well, let's talk to some of the people in here, and they suggest we go visit a place, a kingdom called Saronia. Only a few people have their dialogue changed, as the only ones who I'm going to talk with. So there's that one woman there who says she visit the kingdom. And this one guy in the pub here, he mentions that, hey, our ship flies. So, change my thing around a little bit here. I don't know who I want being in front of my party. The thief looks pretty cool, but so does the ranger. What's not cool is that lady keep blocking our way, that little girl. Then we talk with this guy here. He says, Saronia is a big city. The castle there has a very fast airship. We're gonna have another airship soon. So, well, not necessarily soon, but that gives you a clue that we're going to get another airship. This game has lots of airships. Good luck. So, I guess he's the mayor. He's the guy who unlocked the stores for us, so we can get those leathergrass shoes. So, now that we touched that key in Goldor's manor, we can hop on our boat, and we can turn it into an airship. And we can start exploring the world. If we head immediately west, we'll find this big continent that has a bunch of mountains. There's a thing there inside the mountains. We try to go up this little hole there. The wind pushes us back. We're going to learn more about that. So our ship is not fast enough to, I guess, conquer the winds there. But we are strong enough to conquer the new monsters that can be found on this continent. So that's what we're going to do. We're going to go hunt down some monsters. So, both of these things can cast spells. The Helgaroo mage is the kangaroo-looking thing there. And we also have sorcerers. Both of them, as you can see, can cast level 2 elemental spells. So, not good. So, I don't know which one would be considered tougher, you know, priority-wise, because they can both hurt you pretty bad. So, but feel free to. I said this is what all our high potions are for. So you won't have a class using a dedicated white magic class for a while here. So yeah, the ranger has a little bit of low level white magic, but not enough for real major healing. So we spend a lot of money on high potions. But like most Final Fantasies, around like mid game, money gets so plentiful that you really have not much. You don't have much to spend it on, because pretty much all the good equipment you're getting is being found in the dungeons, as opposed to being bought in cities and villages. Another new enemy here, the sandworm. Even though we're not really on the sand, we're in the middle of the grass. But you finish him off. There's a few more we're gonna look around here at. Go down here in the forest. It's just a thing of mine. The enemies are, unlike Dragon Quest, different terrains have, in Final Fantasy, don't have different encounter rates. But like in Dragon Quest games, plains have a low encounter rate, hills and deserts have a high encounter rates. Forests have slightly more than plains, but less than mountains and deserts. But I just played so many Dragon Quest games. I played them a little more than Final Fantasies growing up, because I had a little bit more of them. That it's just like built into my brain that, oh, you better walk into the forest, you'll get more encounters there. So, but that's not truly the case in Final Fantasy. Just how your brain works sometimes. Even if you know something isn't true, your body might find yourself doing it anyway. So, we got some sorcerers, an Arctic Wind, another one of those black magic casting items. So we're gonna, like I said, farm these enemies here. That we don't really have to worry about them getting them on later on, because we're not going to be really There's not a lot of towns in this continent. We're going to be pretty much visiting most of them in this episode. So we're not going to be doing a lot of walking around on the overworld. So if you're the one like to fill up your best area and show off all the enemies, kind of like how I'm doing here, you're going to kind of have to go out of your way to fight some odd battles. Because there's no real reason for you to ever really land your ship here and walk around in this area to encounter these enemies. These new ones, the Catoblibas. Makes me think of an evil guy who was in Clash of the Titans. He was like a man-cow. Not necessarily a minotaur, because a minotaur is a man with a bull's head. This guy was kind of like bovine featured, like he had hooves and stuff, and his head was like had horns, but was more man-like. So it was an interesting movie. I've seen both the original, the '80s one, and the newer one. So the newer one just recently on the Tubi TV. So got a few new movies I gotta watch on that. So and I found there's a Tremors 5 and 6. So it goes back to those worms. Tremors deals with all those worms underneath the water, underneath the ground and stuff. So, but here's the last enemies above ground here that we need to encounter: the Needle Monkey. I'm having flashbacks to Final Fantasy IV, where they would always counter you if you didn't defeat them in one hit and hit them with a physical attack. They do a needle counter that was pretty tough. So we're going to turn into our airship and head straight north, and we're going to run into this town here. What's the town name? It is Duster. It's the home of bards and geomancers. The Dark Continent is southeast of here, but its entrance is protected by a powerful wind. Yeah, we saw that it pushed us back. Geomancy is difficulty to master. Damage can rebound. There are swords forged out of darkness called Dark Blades. I'm searching for them. Geomancers harness nature and use terrain to do magic-like attacks. Yeah, one of the Geomancer's abilities is called Terrain, and based on what land you're in, a different ability will happen. So like you might cast an Earthquake, in the sand you might have a Sandstorm, in the air you get like a Tornado, a Tsunami in the ocean. So that's a class that we got from the Water Crystal. We're going to make a character of one of them a little later. But for now, we're going to still continue on with this group here. I did buy preemptively, though, there are some feather hats, some rune bracelets, and gear, body armor, Bard Vest and Gaia Vests for our future Bard and Geomancer. At least our Scholar's getting a little bit of an upgrade here. Feather Hat's nice, he gets +5 agility. Lets us act a little bit quicker than the enemies. Saronia is the fastest airship ever. We were told about Saronia. Big Kingdom has a fast airship. There's more confirmation of that. I de-equipped the Poisona spell. That's basically an antidote from a level 1 magic there. Because just taking up space, we don't need it. So these things are taking up space, so might as well get rid of them. I'm gonna buy a diamond bell. Geomancers use bells. They shake them and cause music. So bards play harps. The bard's 2 abilities are they sing and they cheer. Cheer raises the stats of your characters. It gives them damage boosts, and sing kind of lowers the morale of the enemies, so they debuff enemies and they buff your party. I'm going to talk with a bunch of bards here, but hear my song. Lord Bahamut, the greatest Drake of all, defeat him, his power yours to call. So yeah, if we want to get Bahamut to summon, we're going to have to go back to the floating continent, and we'll end up fighting Bahamut. Leviathan, the great shade of the lake, waits for the days his chains shall break. You're gonna go back to the floating continent and also fight Leviathan. He was the little shadow in the lake. Hear my song. Chocobo, 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 hey. So these guys are basically talking about some of the different summons that we'll get in the game. We're gonna have 2 summoning type classes. The sound when you get items. Hear my song. Odin Supreme, the knight among knights, seal himself, waiting for the light. So, Odin, Leviathan, and Bahamut are kind of like optional summons. We have to fight them to get them. The world is destroyed by the power of light. 4 warriors defeat light with their might. Or 4 dark warriors. There's 2 summoning classes. Well, 3 technically. The first one is the Evoker, and we already got that class from the Water Crystal. From the Earth Crystal, we'll get a thing called the Summoner, and then eventually we'll get a special job class from the Special Crystal, the Sage and the Ninja. And the Sage is the ultimate magic you can use white magic, black magic, and summon magic. The summon magic used by the Evoker, each summon has 3 abilities. It basically has a white magic ability, a debuffing ability, or like a support type ability, and then it has an attack ability. So there's Saronia. We do not want to go near there yet. Still got to do a little bit of running around. I'm showing off a bunch of chocobo forests here. There's one in that little corner. There's one down here. So the Evoker can only have the white magic or the support ability effect when they cast a summon spell. The Summoner has the attack effect, and then the Sage can have any of the 3. So, just park our boat here, and there's like a cave over here. Let's head into this cave. Now, this is Une's shrine. We'll learn about who she is later. But, go in there, and she's sleeping. The power Une guards the dream world. She'll never wake up. The Guardian of Dreams. There's Zelda Homemade, the Hero of Dreams. I'll play that eventually. So all these places, I'm just going to optional places to show them off. We're not supposed to go here yet. But I figured, hey, I'm going to take this time to show the world off here now, because we were literally chained down to Amor for a while there. So, checking out my map, making sure we got to find the right thing to go through. Okay, here we go. There's a cave there, but unfortunately you can't land in the river. So in order to get to that cave, we're going to have to park our boat and then canoe, which is okay because we still have 3 more enemies that we want to encounter in the river section here. And here's one of them. We already encountered both these enemies, but we didn't see the stats on the Anet, which is the big fish there. The first time we saw the seahorse, we were boating over to the Chocobo Forest to get one to ride down to Goldor's Manor. Now this cave, I can understand if you don't want to go to it right now, because the enemies inside this cave are going to be really, really tough. But they'll give good experience, so I just want to go here to show things off. And the game has a way of basically telling you, like, other than, you know, the enemies are way too strong for us, that we can't be here. There's going to be a passageway that's going to be blocked. So, ancient runes. All these ancient runes. More from the ancient people. So the stones down there block our way. But more importantly, I guess what blocks our way is these really tough enemies. Zombie dragons, weak against fire and holy. So a scholar, I think, has the fire book, which is good. And Baby Moo has the fire arrows, so they'll be doing some decent damage. But even with decent damage, still guys are going to take a while, and they hit hard. And unfortunately, I have the draining knife, or Calcum knife on Tupelo. So Tupelo, if you have a draining weapon and you attack an undead with it, it is going to have the opposite effect. It's going to give the undead your hit points. So that's why Tupelo lost hit points there. And the zombie dragon unfortunately got those hit points. So yeah, the draining property is reversed. So, ouch. There goes Tangeweenie. We'll get her back on her feet then. So this is one instance where the knight comes in handy. The knight tends to have the highest defense because he has the heavy body armor that we have. The most heavy body armor of all the characters we have. And so, if we get a character back on his or her feet, I'm going to get Tangeweenie back on her feet with this Phoenix down. When you get revived with a Phoenix down, you're in critical hit points. And that's where you're like, you know, kind of leaning over and sweating. The knight auto covers for them. So if that zombie dragon tried to attack Tangeweenie, Fang would step in front of her and take the shot for her. And he would buff you take a lot less damage than Tangeweenie because like he has better armor. But of course we still want to get them up into hit points though, because if Fang's in critical hit point status, then he won't cover anymore. So since Tupelo can't really do much in terms of damage, Tupelo's going to be our healer for this fight. Toss some high potions. This is where all that extra agility that we're getting from the feather hats is going to help, because it lets us outspeed the zombie dragon a little bit. Baby Moo's taking less damage because she is in the back row. Remember, in the back row you get only half damage, but your weapon accuracy is decreased by half if it's not a long-range weapon. Luckily, Baby Moo has bows, which are considered long-range weapons. Some of the long-range weapons includes like boomerangs, throwing stars. The adamantite wall crumbled during the earthquake. Our search team is on the other side. We had a cave-in, and adamantite is blocking the way forward. We're using the ancient ruins as an excavation site. And here's the adamantite there wall. You just press A and it tells you it's adamantite. Stinks that we can't get through that because on the other side, the other researchers have some really good equipment to sell. So, here's a new enemy, the paralysis. Almost like paralysis, but a little bit easier than the zombie dragon. And because it's such a big sprite, it's only going to come in groups of 1. So that makes it a little bit easier too. You don't have to fight 2 at a time. That other battle that I cut out there was of 2 zombie dragons again, and I just ran from it. So using the thief's flee ability, Tupelo's flee ability, which pretty much guarantees success of running, unless you're fighting, you know, like a boss that has a flag that says you can't run. So yeah, definitely way too early to go here, but I'll show things off. But it's not too early to go to our one of the final villages up here. So we're in the villages of geomancers and bards. Now we're going to get this village here, which is kind of the village of summoners, evokers. There's a chocobo forest there over to the left. We'll see that in the next episode. Replito. So this is where we can buy our summon magics, and we're going to be buying some magics in the first 5 levels. So they have weird names, but Escape is basically the chocobo, Ison is your Shiva, Spark is your Ramu, Hitra is Afrit, and the other one is Titan. Hitra, I think, is it? I can't summon while, yeah. And that's basically what the Evoker class looks like. He summons the Chocobo, which is the weakest summon, so. But we're going to give those summons to Tangeweenie and Baby Moo, because they're eventually going to be our sages later on. Well, Tupelo is going to be one of our evokers. Eventually, they'll get passed on to whatchamacallit, Tangeweenie. So we'll remove our mini spell there, so we can fit the Ison spell. We're gonna have to use Mini one more time again in this game for another future dungeon. But let's go back and get the other 2 summon spells, the Titan and Efreet. Heatra and Hyper. So Heatra's Efreet, Hyper is the Earth, the Titan. So, and those are a little bit better than your elemental spells because they can hit all enemies. So that's why in our final list we're not going to have a lot of the black magic elemental spells. Because the summons will do the damage for us. And they don't cost MP, they just cost, the same like spell points per level. The Great Mage Noah lived on the Dark Continent, but he passed away long ago. It is said that both Leviathan and Bahamut were sealed away by Noah himself, and they're on the floating continent. So let's go through this little passage right here. I'm a Golgan. Those are the blind guys who see the future on the floating continent. The flood of darkness that someone is summoning. It's just like the flood of light from long ago. The imbalance of either will erase them both. Grab Phoenix down there, which is good because we lost one of them in the battle with all those zombie dragons. The Great Mage Noah was able to summon Leviathan and even Bahamut. Entities called forth by summoners are more powerful than the ones called by evokers. Yeah, evokers is the water crystal job, summoners will get from the earth crystal. So there's that old man walking there, that's kind of your clue to head into this house. We'll talk with that old man there. You see there's a little dot there showing, hey, come on down this way. There's a cave under the triangle-shaped island. There's lots of treasure there. We're going to have to be able to get underwater. How are we going to be able to do that? Well, if you played Final Fantasy V or watched me play Final Fantasy V, you'll know how we'll do that. We're going to get an airship that turns into a submarine. Later, of course. Get another elixir there. Probably have to drop them off in a chocobo eventually. But before we do that, we're going to get some more items here. Total shell, elixir. Items to use in battle. We'll talk with these other 2 evokers over here. When dealing damage, some enemies can bypass barrier shift. There was once a great magus called Noah. He was a powerful magician. That's basically what magus means, a powerful magician. And in the tree there we find a total shell. Nice. Alright, so that's pretty much all we can do over here. We'll visit that Chocobo Forest in the next episode, and then we'll fly also to Saronia in the next episode, where people have been telling us to go. What do we find there? Find out next time. Bye!